Wallace here, dropping in on you. Hope everybody is having a good week. I hope that whatever it is that you have set out to do, whatever it is that you are fixed on, I hope that you remain focused. I hope that you remain committed. I hope that you are in it for the long haul. Let me tell you something. It's not about who you know. That helps. It's not about what you know. That helps. It's not about how many resources you have. That helps. At the end of the day, let me tell you something. It's the distance you are willing to go. It is the distance. It's all of those things help. You need to be committed. You need to have resources. You need to know people. You need to build the right relationships. All of those things are important. You need to develop a knowledge in an area. You need to develop a knowledge and a level of expertise in anything that you're going to go after. Absolutely necessary. But at the end of the day, it's going to boil down to the distance you are willing to go. And so the question becomes, what is the distance you're willing to go? What is the distance you're willing to go to live your dream, to live your vision, to walk in it? When I looked up in September of last year and said, I'm not going into my 55th birthday looking like this, weighing 258.6 pounds, almost 259 pounds, when my whole life has been about fitness. I'm not doing that again. So I had to ask myself, what's the distance you're willing to go? What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to do different? What will stop you? And anyone who knows me knows that when I make up in my mind to do something, I'm going to either do it or I'm going to die trying. So there is no thing to stop me. Once I make up in my mind, I'm going the distance. People talk about a lot of things when we talk. And I'm getting text messages from someone. There's so many things going on that are falling in line for me right now. And I'm so grateful and I'm thankful to God. But it all boils down to, I've been going the distance for so long. I've been putting in the work for so long. I've been taking bumps and bruises, hits, heartache, and every other thing. And I've just been pushing. And I see it coming to fruition. But let me tell you something. I had to make a decision in September. At some point, you're going to have to give up some things. So I gave up sugar completely. No added sugar. If it's not in the fruit, it's not in the food, I don't eat it. I gave up fried foods completely. If it's put in grease under heat, I don't eat it. I moved into a hybrid keto diet. Healthy fats, extremely low carbs, right amount of protein to produce what I'm trying to produce, in building while losing, which is something you've got to know what you're doing. But again, my first company was a fitness company, still is a fitness company. Matter of fact, Master Fitness 21 started out as Stay Fit Fitness and Training 30 plus years ago. Still in the game. A lot of stuff has followed, but that company I keep for a reason. That's always going to be a passion. Matter of fact, it ended up with me sitting as the dean for the School of the Ministry of Health and Wellness for Ray of Hope Theological Seminary. So to have all of that and still end up where I ended up was a disappointment, but life happens. What you don't do is you don't let life define you. You don't let a failure define you. You don't let a setback define you. You don't let challenges, disappointments, frustrations, and even betrayals define you. What you decide is that you're going to stand up and you're going to go the distance. So I'm going to ask you, what's this thing that you want? What is this thing that you want? How bad do you want it? Do you want it as bad as you want to breathe? Do you want it as bad as anything you can think about? Because I'm telling you now, if there's something out there that you fear, you're going to face it. I can tell you that because I've been there. Everything that I feared, I've had to face. From being at the top in the fear of losing it all to losing it all. From the probably the greatest fear of ever being homeless, going from all of that and being homeless. But I came back, I recovered, I rebuilt, and I did it all because I was willing to go the distance. I faced down the worst fears I had until there were none. And then I said, bring it. And life keeps throwing them, and I keep taking them, and I keep knocking them out of the park. Not because I'm better than anybody. It's because I've made up in my mind I'm going the distance. So again, I'm going to ask you, what is it that you want bad enough to go the distance? Whatever it is you're pursuing right now, are you willing to go the distance? Because see, the destination is at the end of you going the distance. That's the destiny. But you got to go the distance. People don't realize their destinies, not because they couldn't. They don't realize their destinies because they didn't finish, because they didn't keep pushing, because they didn't stay the course. Something came along and knocked them off course, and they found it to be easier to take the path of least resistance. They decided to retreat to their corner of comfort. They decided that what they were up against was more than they were willing to deal with. They decided that they had made a demand on life or something, but the counter demand that life made on them was far more than they were willing to pay. Let me tell you something. There is only one thing that can stop me once I make up in my mind that I'm going to have something. Death. And if death comes with me giving life everything I have. Death won't catch me resting. Death won't catch me running. Death won't catch me giving up. Death won't catch me in a state of surrender. Death is going to find me fighting. Death is going to find me pushing. Death is going to find me living. And so again, I'm asking you, what is it that you are willing to go the distance for? Whatever that thing is, you're going to have to walk in it. You're going to have to be willing to deal with delay for it. You're going to have to be willing to hear people talk about you. You're going to have to be willing to have people wish for your demise. You're going to have to be willing to climb out of some pits. You're going to have to be willing to push through some walls. You're going to have to be willing to fight off fear. Let me tell you something, but if you do, everything worth having is on the other side of that wall that you're afraid to climb, that you're afraid to push down, that you're afraid to go around. Everything worth having is on the other side of it. You're going to have to stand up tall. You're going to have to square your shoulders. You're going to have to make up in your mind that you're going to go get it, and that absolutely nothing is going to stop you. When people come to me to work with me, that's one of the first questions. What is the distance you are willing to go to have it? What is the distance? What are you willing to do? And I mean ethically and morally. I mean without hurting someone else, without cheating someone else, with being as fair as you can and upright as you can. What's the distance you're willing to go? How much frustration are you willing to push through? How many hours and days and weeks and months and even years of delay are you willing to experience? How many people are you willing to hear whisper behind your back and wish for your demise? All of these things are questions you've got to answer, and you've got to be willing to sit up and say, ain't none of that stopping me. None of that is stopping me. Look, when I make up in my mind, those who know me know, just get out of his way and watch him. Just get out of the way and watch him. I've learned now to be a lot more subdued and quiet when I move, because everybody that is in my within speaking distance, within the ear distance, doesn't necessarily mean me good. It's some people out there want to steal from me. It's some people out there that want to take what doesn't belong to them. It's some people out there that want to stop me in my tracks. It's some people out there that's intimidated by my presence. It's some people out there that are convicted by my greatness because they refuse to live in their own. That's not my problem, but I know you're there. So I don't share everything the way I used to. I used to get excited and say, we're about to do this. And I realized so much negative energy and spiritual energy. There are people that'll look at what you have and covet it. And they'll suck it and seep it and sap it right out. So I've learned to protect it, but I can tell you I'm going for it all. If it's a way for me to touch this world, I'm going to touch this world. I'm going to leave it in a better situation and state than when I found it. I'm going to touch this world. I'm going to leave people more prepared than they've ever been before in life. I'm going to touch this world. Look, if you're watching this video, in that description box, it's going to be an offer. Only if you're watching this video. I'm not saying anything about it. You're going to have to go look for it. But I promise you, if you look for it and you act on it, your life will never be the same. It's not for everybody. I guarantee you it's not for everybody. But for the people who want to act on it, it's going to be there. And that is where I'm going to leave you at. I'm going to leave you with where I started. A simple question. What is the distance you're willing to go? On that note, look, as I always say, I am going to live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E. My challenge to you is that you do the same thing. Now, on that note, I'm out of here. Made it to the gym. They got all the parking spots locked up. That means it's going to be packed. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here and do what I got to do because it's got to be done. And you guys do what you got to do. And for those of you who are going to take advantage of that offer, I'll be talking to you.